I'm Jack, and we have post-apocalyptic films. So the definition of a post-apocalyptic film is basically, I have this quote, but it's basically like a film set in a world that's been like ravaged by some sort of apocalyptic event, and it follows one or a small group of survivors that kind of traverse the terrain. And and this relates more to the next slide, but here's like a little chart so you can see like the growing popularity of post-apocalyptic films and how it kind of coincides with like different happenings in society.
Brief history, 1960s was really kind of the point where the film versions of post-apocalyptic sort of stories kicked off, and that was probably most notably done with Planet of the Apes. There were a couple other examples that were pretty good, but this is probably the most well-known. They tend to play off kind of underlying fears of society toward it around that time. Mad Max is sort of like Cold War, where like everything's kind of obliterated outside of like a couple cities, all civilizations just kind of falling apart. The Matrix, the Terminator, this is coming at a time where technology was advancing at like a really, really quickly, really fast rate. People sort of feared the whole Y2K experience, and sort of machines kind of going too far. And then I Am Legend, probably the best example. Most recent, 2007, medicine advancing too quickly and kind of going out of control and obliterating most of the population. As technology improved, a lot of the graphics became more believable, more vivid, and it just kind of brought the whole idea of a post-apocalyptic world to life. Ideal examples, as I said, I Am Legend. It was pretty much Will Smith versus the world, which is a great movie. That's a picture of the setting in I Am Legend. It's sort of, it's a pretty textbook example of how just the world has gone without humans. And then Mad Max, lack of civilization, very hostile environment. Been a lot of movies based off of that, but they kind of all follow the same textbook. The whole land is kind of wasted. Everywhere you go is just kind of a hostile environment.
So a few of the conventions of the post-apocalyptic films: Jordan population wiped out, land is generally hostile, usually like a single protagonist here, or maybe like a group, small group. The goal is trying to rebuild humanity, and we'll talk about a few more of these in the next slide. So these are three of the most important ones. So the land is generally hostile, so like whatever like remained after the apocalyptic event is kind of like what they're faced with, whether that's man versus man, whether it's like other people, or if it's like some kind of hostile climate or something to do with nature. The fifth one we said was that the event seems plausible, so like it's kind of this sense that like whatever happened could actually happen in real life. So like, in WALL-E, it's not really like, I guess it could happen if we started like stacking garbage like this. We kind of like destroy the planet with our whole with global warming, overproduction, stuff like that. And and that relates to how it could be an allegory for a real world fear, such as WALL-E with global warming, or zombie films with which can kind of be allegories for like consumerism. The audience, I thought that like the audiences tend to be, because since post-apocalyptic movies tended to be so like they tend to be allegories, that the audience of the films tend to be like the generations that related to whatever the subject matter is. So if you look at like The Matrix, that was like focused around like Y2K, stuff like that, like or technology and how that could get out of control. Versus like back in like the 50s and 60s with War of the Worlds, where there was it's kind of an allegory for the Cold War and like the nuclear arms race, possible like annihilation in that aspect. And also the audience like knows what to expect basically with these post-apocalyptic films. They all kind of the same formula of like, setting up the cast, the event, everything. And there's a possibility of an unhappy ending with these films too, which the audience is kind of expecting.
So there's a lot of opportunity for hybridity with these films, and they've kind of branched out over the years. Most recently in like the comedy era with This Is the End, which is just a bunch of Hollywood actors acting as themselves and trying to survive the apocalypse. But probably one of the most common ones would be sci-fi. Oblivion, The Matrix, War of the Worlds. In this sense, include either some kind of futuristic technology or some kind of alien race taking over the world, and then the usual hero trying to save it.
Yeah, and another genre that it blends with could be horror, which horror is usually inherent in a lot of these post-apocalyptic films, like whether it's like a zombie movie or something like that. Those are often blended together. Yeah, and that's it.